See, whatever the rights which are given in the constitution, which are given as a special treatment or else which are given in a special place, are called fundamental rights. Then what is the difference between fundamental right and a legal right? Or ordinary right or legal right or ordinary law? What is the difference, anyone? Which are acquired by birth? Legal rights, they can be changed. It can also be amended in the sense changing itself. This also can be amended. Basic itself, fundamental itself means basic, okay. And the ordinary legal rights are? Which one? This? Legal rights are accepted by the? And these are not accepted by the? See, no issues, need not to laugh. Each and everyone will make a. See, it's an interactive class, need not to. Yes? There are many instances where we have keep on adding the things. As I said, if we feel that your PG, we are in a position to give a free education to you, then we will add it to the fundamental right, right to education. Then we cannot remove the existing things. We can do that. See, it actually basic thing, legal right is, it is supported by, it was implemented by the ordinary law making. Let's say it is made by the parliament. And only a particular law was made for this. Let's say your RTI, Right to Information, Consumer Protection Act, this all comes under the legal rights, which were not backed by the constitution. But what are the rights which were given in the constitution, especially because they are given the special protection? They themselves are added to the constitution. It was given a special preference or special place in the constitution. If your rights get violated, it's the constitution itself states that you should be protected. The judiciary itself is the protector of your fundamental rights. If someone violates, you can directly go to the Supreme Court. That itself was given in the fundamental rights. So this is a special privilege it was given, but that was not the case here. You can go to some other lower court or higher court or else a district court, but that is not the case here. You can go to approach direct the Supreme Court by filing a petition. So that is the importance of the fundamental rights. And what are the constitutional rights? Right to property is a constitutional right. So difference I am asking, not an example. Right to vote is a constitutional right. Do all the fundamental rights are, do all the rights which are mentioned in the constitution are fundamental rights? No. So things which are not mentioned in the fundamental rights and the other rights which are included in the constitution other than the fundamental rights are constitutional rights. All constitutional rights are not fundamental rights, but all fundamental rights are constitutional rights because these are part of the constitution, and these constitutional rights are part of this constitution but not the fundamental rights. Getting confused? Am I going fast? Clear? Clear with the statements which I give you? No? See, fundamental rights were given a special privilege here, special treatment, special enforceability. Here you can approach the court directly. It was given a separate chapter in the constitution, and these are called fundamental rights, Bill of Rights. But there are other rights, let's say like right to property, right to vote. These things were not mentioned directly in the fundamental rights, but are given as a separate thing, and those are called constitutional rights. Getting clear? And these constitutional rights, these are examples of constitutional rights which are not fundamental rights, do not become part of the fundamental rights. And the only things which are mentioned in the concept of fundamental rights are called fundamental, because they are necessary for the functioning of the each and every individual to achieve his potential actually. Still doubt?
So why they have been separated, like if the constitutional rights we have to follow, these are part of it, right, sir?
Which one?
Fundamental right.
Fundamental rights are part of the constitution.
Constitutional right. So
yes.
Why there is a need of separate right? Like
why we have given a separate special treatment for this? See, these are let's say let's say if fundamental rights are not there, let's say your right to life is a fundamental right. Right to education is a fundamental right. Right to equality, all are fundamental rights. These are the examples of fundamental rights. If these equality, right to life, all these things are not mentioned in the fundamental rights, if they are not mentioned, if they are not clearly mentioned in the fundamental rights, there is no meaning to the other rights actually. Getting clear? If here it says that in fundamental rights, if the state violates your rights, it was clearly mentioned for these kind of rights which are basic for their functioning. If the state violates your fundamental rights, you can approach directly the Supreme Court. So that Supreme Court can intervene and it can give the orders to the state government that you should not violate the rights of the individual. But for now, that is not the case with fundamental. See, if the right to property, there was many instances, it was taken out of the fundamental right. Actually, it was a fundamental right. Right to property is your fundamental right. If you read it in your civics books in schools, state syllabus or else CBSE, this right to property, when you are reading, it was right to property, you might have read it in fundamental right. The right to property was changed from fundamental right to the constitutional right. If right to property was a fundamental right, each and every individual will keep on claiming the things and they will keep on going to the Supreme Court for each and every civil dispute of lands. So the state cannot take your rights. Let's say if there was an expansion of road here this property is your property of analog. If the state want to expand the road, then they are taking your property till there. So it's your fundamental right. They cannot take your fundamental rights. So they have put it in the constitutional right, and there it says that the government should provide some benefits to the people when you take the property of an individual. Compensation, like, so they will be given some compensation around 4 times the market value in the village, urban, rural areas, and 2 times the market value of urban areas. So that is how that is the difference between the constitutional right and fundamental rights. Clear? Are you clear with the fundamental rights, constitutional rights, and legal rights? See, legal rights are the things which were backed by the parliament, which are made through the process of ordinary lawmaking. But the fundamental rights are made, if they want to repeal the things, it needs a constitutional amendment, which is a difficult procedure. See, there are different kinds of majorities actually. If you want to pass this through the constitutional amendment, it is a difficult task actually. It needs a majority support, special majority, that is called special majority. But here, it needs a normal majority, simple thing. The process of passing the law is simple here, but here it is difficult. So you cannot change the things easily here, but it is easy to change the things. If you want to repeal the RTA Act, you can change it in a simple manner. If you want to change the things in fundamental rights, it needs some support from the opposition party as well. Clear? That needs a special majority here. Okay, difference between the fundamental rights, constitutional rights, and legal rights. Are you clear with all these things? These are the basic things which you need to learn. Anyone have doubts still here? Difference between, see, these all the things, legal rights are which are not mentioned in the constitution. Legal rights are separate law documents. Let's say right to information, which was not there in the constitution. Consumer Protection Act, which was not there in the constitution. Right to property we do not have a, but it was given in the constitution. We have made a law for this thing. No, we do not need any particular thing. No, we do not need a constitutional amendment. Let us say I have added one more thing like your information, right to information, which was already there in the fundamental right. Let's say if I was adding right to information, it is your constitutional right. Let's say it's an example. Right to information is a constitutional right. So if it was there, we have made a law for the implementation of this thing. If it was not mentioned, no one has not talked about this until 2005. If it was added in this, we might have made a law in 1947, 1948 or 1949. So no one has recognized that right to information is so important. So till 2005, 2006, we haven't made any law on the right to information. So if you want to get any information, you will go to the department and you will give a letter for what the information you need, and you provide it to the person who is the contact person, and he will provide you the information within 40 days. So that is the legal thing. That was a legal right which was made. If it was, they made a right to information act and they given some provisions in the right to information act. Clear? If it was not mentioned right to property, so they might not have made any particular law on that instance, because the property itself is the reason why the India got divided into two countries. Property is the dispute. The feudal arts are the reasons for each and everything. Clear with this difference?